Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up for a new account to get amazing odds boosts every single day. Jesse, Rudo, Megan, AJ coming to you live as the Avs lose in overtime to the Pittsburgh Penguins in a game that they led for the vast majority of. I guess they didn't lead for the vast majority of it, but they didn't trail for much of it. I'm
just going to treat this entire post-game pod like the State of the Union. I'm not going to talk. Just anything I agree or disagree with, I'm either going to stand and applaud or do nothing.
No in between. Any way around it. We do need to do a 1-minute rundown, so I guess I am up for that. Ready. First period, Avs totally dominated. Pittsburgh came out awfully slow, and Avs controlled play, honestly, through the entire first and second periods. The only thing I'd take different is the Avs finish a little better. They dominated possession, but they only end up with one goal through the first two periods. It was the Nathan MacKinnon show on the goal. He basically did it entirely himself. The rest of it, I really have no problems with Colorado's play, even through the first half of the third period. Thought Colorado played a really good hockey game. Pittsburgh did push a little bit harder in the latter halves of the third period. Unfortunately, the Avs lost Cale Makar for a significant portion of the third on a hit from Jeff Carter that we will talk about. And then a weird play where Francouz YOLOs a poke check. It doesn't work out, and the puck ends up in the back of the Avs net. Gets the game to overtime, where the Avs fail to convert their overtime power play, and it comes back to bite them immediately as Chris Letang finishes them off. Tough. No clapping for that one.
Nothing.
We go back through it, and we'll go reasonably chronologically here. How do the Avs get the puck to go in the net tonight? Is it just bad luck? Did they just get goalied? Is there something they could have reasonably improved upon to take more control of this game, given that they were so dominant possession-wise?
2 posts, one of them in overtime. I thought DeSmith was really good on that power play in overtime. I don't know if my vibes are equal with this chat. I just didn't have a huge issue with that game other than the result.
I really don't either, to be honest with you.
The overtime power play was bad, but it's fine.
I mean, look, I think you can reasonably say you'd like the Avs to finish at least one more chance. They also go 0 on their power play chances in regulation. But the way this game got played out, on most nights, you're looking at the Avs winning 4-1, something like that. Not all that close. So process-wise, I don't have a big problem with it. Obviously, you can always expect better. I think you needed a better game from Mikko Rantanen tonight in a lot of facets that you didn't really get. On the flip side, you get Bo and Byron back in this game, and your defense plays incredible hockey for the majority of this game.
Yeah.
Megan, are you giving the Avs defense full credit here, or is this Pittsburgh is bad situation?
No, I do think the defense earned some credit here. They eliminated chances from a team that is usually good at generating chances, the Pens are. And they mitigated that, especially through the first 2 periods. And we saw the way that Byram and Girard did already appear to be a more stabilizing force within the D-Corps, and the usage within the D-Corps also appeared more balanced. So I do think that they have earned credit there.
All right. I think even Seek EJ on the bottom pair seemed a whole lot more comfortable doing anything down there.
Well, and it became important when Makar was absent for parts of the game. So,
absolutely true. These are tough ones because I never really know what to say, other than right. Avs got to score at least one more time in this hockey game.
Yeah, it felt like they did a lot of things well. Especially through the first 40 minutes. I guess that's the one part where, like you said, it's hard because what do you say other than score? Which,
yep.
Someone already put in the chat, you do always have to acknowledge there's 2 teams out there, 2 sets of players trying to win the game. And to the point that you guys just made, I thought the defense played really well. I thought you saw a noticeable improvement in the back end with the addition of Bowen Byram. I thought the Avs looked engaged. I thought they looked, ready to play. They controlled pace. They stood guys up at the blue line. They held the zone. Like I said, Nathan MacKinnon hits a post 40 seconds before Chris Letang ends it, and it's a game of inches. If that puck goes off the post and in, everyone is super stoked. Like, oh, the Avs are back. It's a team from last year. It doesn't go in. It goes the other way, and there's people like, oh, this is a soft team. They're not going to win anything. Fold up shop. Start scouting Connor Bedard. It's like, I just didn't have an issue with that game. You get a point. We said pregame that, it'd be great for you to win all 3, but realistically, you need to come home with 4 out of 6 points. You've got 1. Not the start you wanted, but it's not the worst start you could have had. To me, I more of look at the process in that game, the energy they played with. Nathan MacKinnon told me a couple weeks ago, as long as our intention is good, we will live with mistakes and bad periods and things like that. I thought they had the right intent tonight. In terms of actual play, not the worst way to kick off a road trip, coming out of a long break like that.
All right, let me ask you this way then. At this point in the season, do moral victories matter, or is it just the points at the end of the game?
I'll let you guys go because I just talked for the last 45 seconds. All right, never mind. I'll go. So no, it's not a moral victory. It's
No, sorry, I genuinely was just moving the mic.
It's all good.
No, moral victories don't count for moral victories don't count for anything in pro sports at any point of the season ever. But to me, this isn't a moral victory. This is saying you played well, your process looked good, you looked engaged coming out of the break. It's a bad result. Points are the only thing that matters. You got 1, you wanted 2. That's disappointing. But in terms of building going forward, I liked the process for tonight.
I've seen them derive positives from bad games to include the Chicago game that we talk so much about in reference to some of their more difficult periods of hockey. And I feel that this is one that they're not going to hang their heads too low upon, especially because there are things process-wise that were very positive coming out the gate as solid as they did, and then being able to sustain it through 2 periods as solidly as they did were definitely positives process-wise. And then just the impact of Bowen Byram is something to look positively towards in the next 2 games on this trip, that it probably just gets better from here for him. And I wonder, too, it seems like there's some emotions that boiled over, like the feel of the game changed after the hit on Makar. And I imagine that there is frustration that happens there, not just from Makar individually, but from the team as well, that I also wonder if they can turn into something positive moving forward.
I mean, you brought us into this room. Let's just talk about it. The Makar hit, look, don't think there was anything intentional here from Jeff Carter.
Yep.
It was just a coincidental thing. Nonetheless, you can't be hitting dudes in the head in the NHL. It's got to be stopped.
I thought the attempt at contact was intentional. I don't think it was malicious. That I see people talking about McDermott's not out to deter anything. I actually don't think there was anything to deter on that play.
Yep.
But to your point, Rudo, that doesn't change the fact that was an illegal hit to the head. It should have been called. In my opinion, that was something that could have very easily been reviewed 5 in a game. Look, that was shoulder on chin.
From the blind side.
Right. There was no follow through. There wasn't, he got a lot of body with the elbow. The only point of contact was shoulder, chin, blindside hit. To me, that should have been a 5 in a game. And it's super unfortunate that you lose Cale Makar for about 10 minutes of game time when you're trying to hold on to a 1-goal lead. I think you and AJ said right after that happened, you said, this doesn't feel great. You really felt the push from Pittsburgh after they tied it up, and you just kind of knew that wasn't... Pittsburgh started running downhill a little bit once Makar went out of the game.
For sure.
I'm sorry. The league has to do something about the process of hit to the head that gets missed, player gets pulled on concussion protocol. The team that took a hit to the head got punished. The league has to find a way to fix that process. If the spotters are calling down saying, hey, this hit registered to us as needs to be pulled, that to me is something that you need to be able to review that to some way. That's a really broken process.
I just don't think it's that complicated of a system. You should treat it the same way that high sticks happen in the league. You need to be in control of your stick at all times. You got to be in control of your body at all times. If you accidentally take somebody's head off, that's on you.
Yep. I'm with you.
Just don't think it's that complicated of a process, to be honest with you. Obviously, the Avs, maybe they lose that game anyway, even with Cale Makar in the game. We don't know. We don't know what that world looks like. And he did come back for the end of the third period and overtime, so he's fine. So that's good.
As of right now.
At the very least. You can always have late symptoms there. But it's just a tough look for the NHL when they say those are the types of things they're trying to specifically remove, and you don't even get a penalty out of it live. I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you there. On the forward side, I know graphics probably not ready yet, but we got to talk about Nathan MacKinnon.
He's great.
A graphic is ready. Look at that. Ready to go. Obvious king of the game. Dude was an absolute monster tonight. He scored the Avs' only goal. Probably deserved a second one.
Dude, he deserved like 4. Both posts were him.
Yep. I don't know. You certainly got the most out of your top forward. He gave you what you needed tonight. You just didn't get any goal scoring from anywhere else.
Yeah.
He was good. Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
He was good defensively too.
Yes.
And it became, but he was generating chances by a long mile. Like not just 8 shots on goal, but 11 addition to that are missed or blocked shots. You just can't really ask for more from him individually. Sorry, I keep going.
No, keep
going.
going.
The way in which he scores is a lot of individual effort. It's not.
Yeah.
The way I wrote about it was definitely team effort too. But it takes a face-off win, and it takes Gerard to Byram setting this up. But then the individual effort of the way that he brings the play around from the back of the net and is able to not get worked off the puck, go into the slot, and fire it past a goaltender who's having a terrific night. It's such a good individual effort that Nathan MacKinnon deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving him all the credit for that one. You're right. There is play leading up to that, but on a night where at that point you've already seen Nathan MacKinnon is hot. Everything's clicking. It also felt like the Avs were kind of like, all right, let's just get out of his way and let him work a little bit.
He's like Barley. You can tell in the first 2 minutes
if he's good or not tonight. Mm-hmm. But you did bring up a great point about his defense as well. Particularly the effort in board battles and stuff defensively tonight from MacKinnon was like, okay, MacKinnon knows what's up. MacKinnon knows where the Avs are at and where they need to go. So I do really like that from him. I'm curious how you guys thought the rest of the top 6 looked. I already said I didn't love Mikko tonight, but I'll open it up to you guys to talk about anything you liked or didn't like in the Avs top 6. Where are you headed with it?
All right, I'll go again. I'm with you in that, like, you would have wanted a better individual effort, maybe out of a guy like Mikko, but really, for the most part, again, just comparing this to the way that they came out of the Christmas break, I liked the engagement from really all of Colorado's forward. Their entire roster for the first 53 minutes of this game. I thought they were generating chances. I thought they were good on the forecheck. They were blocking shots. Forwards were coming back, helping out defensively. Really, a lot of the stuff that I'm listing is why this loss maybe stings more than you would think, because I thought they absolutely played good enough to win. I thought they deserved to win. Really, I'm not blaming it on the hit or anything like that, but I thought that hit, Makar leaves the game, and Pittsburgh just really started. I already used a phrase, running downhill, and the Avs just seemed to struggle to kind of put the brakes on it. They tied the game, and again, I thought it was still a half-decent pushback. I'm with AJ. Really, the only part of this game where I felt like the forwards or the offense in general was disappointing or any bit of a letdown was that power play in overtime where they just generated, well, I guess I shouldn't say nothing. They hit a post. But usually on a 4-on-3, there's so much time and so much space that you can really be selective with your lanes and really find your shot. And it felt like they were forcing and they were really in a hurry to get pucks to the net unnecessarily. That was the only part of this game I didn't like for the Avs forward core was that power play in overtime.
I thought Nichushkin didn't quite look like himself on that power play in overtime.
Yeah.
And it made me reflect on the game, too, that maybe he's just not quite at 100%. I still don't think it was bad or a game that I would be highly critical of. But it is more noticeable than when even like Arturi Lehkonen, he's someone who misses parts of this game, too, after blocking a shot and experiencing some pain. And then you look at his contributions throughout the rest of the game beyond that, and it just doesn't jump off the page at you. But it's not as if the entire top six wasn't trying. Like, even with Mikko Rantanen, some of the issue I had is probably similar to why you took issue too, is there were moments where I feel like the emotions late in the third got to him a little bit too. Like, he falls on a play that I think he was expecting a call on, and he doesn't immediately bounce back up. And it's such a close game at that point that you just have to have that spring reaction, and you can't get too caught up on the emotions of it.
Going to hold on that topic for a minute, but I want to talk about that in overtime as well, because I think that was a bit of a factor on the eventual game-winning goal. But in general, I agree with you guys. I don't have a ton negative to say out of this game. I think at one point shots were 30-15 in the Avs' favor. There was a pushback from Pittsburgh in the second half of the third period, which the Avs mostly weathered, except for an extremely weird goal, which... You know, how much do you guys put of that on Frankie? When he goes for the YOLO play, it doesn't work as well as he wanted, and eventually ends up in his net.
I don't have an issue with either goal. Yeah, you'd like him to not be chasing a puck a little bit. I understood what he was trying to do. Rudo, you and I talked about it. The benefit of hindsight, that puck probably goes into the corner pretty harmlessly either way. I understood what he's trying to do. It's a slight miscalculation of a play. And then let's not act like it wasn't also a pretty unfortunate series of bounces that
for sure
led to that puck being in the back of the net on that game-tying goal. And really, I felt for him in overtime because he made two miraculous saves right before Crystal Tang got a third whack at it from within 10 feet.
Want to not putting the overtime goal on Frankie at all.
Yeah.
It's just the tying one that I'm curious thoughts about from the couch.
From the couch. I really did chalk it up to being a bit of a weird bounce that I'm not pinning on Frankie harshly, especially because he did come up with timely saves in the third, like on a wrist shot from Yevgeny Malkin. That's important timely saves that I really wasn't disappointed. I recognized the ways in which it took a pretty weird bounce.
Okay, and an interesting game on the whole from Frankie too. Obviously, through the first 50 minutes, he didn't give up a single goal. Also wasn't asked to really do a ton. And then Pittsburgh turns up the heat on him a lot for the last 10, 15 minutes of the game.
I think it's a bad decision.
I
didn't love the poke check because in the world of risk reward, what are you getting out of it if you get it right?
That's if you're gonna commit to that, you can't miss, right? And he misses.
and like it's funny because it feels like an all-in play, but he makes it like 50%. He like gets a piece of it and survives immediately. But
I mean, does he though? Because he's 5 feet out of his net.
Well, and I mean, it should not be overlooked that the puck actually making its way into the net.
It's nonsense for sure.
Come on, like it's just a bad break. It just is. I don't love the decision to put himself in that position to where he's scrambling around and he is 5 feet out of the net. But, you know, we've seen Frankie, he's adventurous like that. He's a guy, I mean, on a PK earlier in the game, he plays the puck and clears it himself. Mm-hmm. Like, with a guy bearing down on him, he's like, well, we're doing this. So that's just who he is. And a goalie that gives up a goal in regulation, I'm not going to win. I'm not coming down on him for that. Yeah. I'm not coming down on him for a game. I'm not coming down on him for that night. I don't love that decision, but ultimately the puck finds its way in through some just bad fortune.
It's a great example of what we talk about from time to time with goalies, where the reason that's such a hard position is because every little mistake is magnified times 1,000. So I love the way you just put that. Like, I'm with you. I don't love that decision for the poke check either. And it's unfortunate because there's 100 decisions that the Avs make on any given night that I'm like, I don't love that decision. When it's the goalie, usually a decision
Yeah,
that you don't
right.
like ends up in the back of your net. And it's that's tough.
We give king of the game to Nathan MacKinnon, whose decision to just keep firing one-timers on a power play, despite the fact that his entire career, that's never been his bread and butter. It's a very small piece of his success. He keeps trying to make it a bigger piece. It keeps not working. It's whatever. This is a guy that also helps create a 2-on-1 on the first shift of overtime because he comes onto the ice and he throws the
Shoots
puck
it right into the first guy.
right
Yeah.
into it, right into shin pads.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking, and he gets away with bad decisions. We give him king of the game, and he was awesome tonight. So I don't even have any there's not even a.
Yep.
I don't even have a problem. I'm the one that sent that in.
I was
Like
gonna say.
it was my call. Like we gave him king of the game because he was great, but when you are goaltender, sometimes your decisions haunt you in different ways, in bigger, more noticeable ways. And that sucks because otherwise I thought Frankie played the kind of bounce back game you expected. His last performance was bad.
And he was good. He was good.
And I have no issues with Pavel Francouz. He was not the reason they lost the hockey game tonight. He just wasn't. I mean, you've got a power play that doesn't score in any situation. I just don't. I don't think that there are major problems here. I thought that they played well. They were good. They don't survive the big push, and then they were bad in overtime.
Did Francouz just see the clear Cogliano made early in the game where he unnecessarily dove and want to reenact it? That's my question. Other than that, though, Frankie did hit Blaze's bet tonight of over 29.5 saves. So hopefully he at least made a little bit of money with DraftKings Sportsbook. Got a little pick of the week here for you as well going in. I'm not doing anything too fancy with this one, but I'm picking Jalen Hurts to score the first touchdown of the Super Bowl.
To score the first touchdown.
Little QB sneak action.
All right.
Yeah,
I like that.
that's what I'm going with on
I like
my
that.
prop bet. I already picked the Eagles to win the thing a couple weeks ago, so that one's still looking good. But
I got Hannah going on betting on sports last year in the Super Bowl because she's just not a sports person.
yeah,
But I introduced her to gambling on sports. She was like, I can get behind this.
get a little interested in it
And I
that
was like,
way.
yeah, get some skin in the game. Vested interest.
If it works for you, it works for you. You can sign up with DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR with a new account today. Bet $5 on the Super Bowl, get $200 in free bets. So jump on that. Get some money to play with, which you can then go bet on whatever you want. Doesn't really even matter at that point. You can bet on darts or grass curling. What's it called? Lawn bowling, I think.
No, but I know. Is that bocce ball? Is that bocce ball?
Sure, bocce ball. I think
that
usually
another-
in sand, I think bocce ball gets played.
Is it bocce ball the one where you throw the white?
Yeah,
and then you have to-
yeah,
okay, yeah.
But I think you usually play that on sand.
Really?
Not
There's a
grass,
bar in
but-
Highlands Ranch that's got like 4 artificial turf bocce
Interesting.
ball things. Yeah.
All right. Either way, you can bet on it with DraftKings. Doesn't matter. So go over there, use the DNVR code. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. Other terms, restrictions, and conditions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Also, if you
Couch eating you? I feel like it's eating
I
me.
sink a lot.
Yeah.
That seat is.
It's just very relatable. She's readjusting, and I feel like I'm just.
well, if you've been eaten by a couch or blindsided like Cale Makar, call Bacchus and Shanker. 222-2222. Get yourself compensated correctly for your injuries. Bacchus and Shanker have been doing it for over 25 years in Colorado. They've won over $1 billion for your clients. But the best part is it's completely free until you win your case. They will take a look at your case, cost you nothing. If they take up your case, it costs you nothing. $3.03 to get covered on whatever your injury may be if you're not at fault. Whether it was a car accident, even if it was a rideshare situation, if it was at work, or otherwise, if you think you have unfairly not gotten what you deserve, Bacchus and Shanker will cover you. They'll take up your case, and they will win for you. Again, just press 2 for a while and get what you need from Bacchus and Shanker. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. The overtime. There's no secret sauce to the power play opportunity the Avs got. They just need to put one in the back of the net. They came close, but not close enough. I think you may have wanted to see a little more urgency in creating quality opportunities. MacKinnon settled for a couple on the outside.
I just wanted them, again, you get a 4-on-3 that is supposed to be, like, that's one of the most high percentage man advantages you can have in hockey because you have an adequate number of guys. There's so much open space. There's so much time. And not just Nate. Like, obviously, he was firing a lot of shots. But everyone, that just felt like a very rushed power play. That is the one time where it is completely acceptable for you to say, we have 2 minutes. Pump the brakes. Let's get some good looks here. Let's find our lane. I just didn't feel like they made Pittsburgh kill that penalty. They didn't make them work at all. And that was, I said it earlier, that was my only and my biggest gripe with the way that they played in the offensive zone tonight was that power play where they just everything that you would normally ask out of a 4-on-3 power play. I just didn't think that they did any of it.
There was no puck movement. Nate was happy to just settle for taking one-timers.
Yep.
All right, I'm just going to shoot it. I mean, you're the worst shooter on the ice of all those 4 guys. Like,
I don't know if I agree with that.
Certainly the third best, I would say. I'm taking Mikko every time.
Yeah.
And I think I'd take Cale too.
He's the guy giving you 70% of your attempts right there. So, Mikko gets one look at it and fans on it. Has a couple of looks at the game. Mikko doesn't play particularly well. Nichushkin doesn't play particularly well. I agreed with Megan earlier. I just didn't like his game that much. Don't think he's 100% there. His legs still look like they're not totally there. He's just not. It's just not. It was just really, Jesse. I think you say it. They defended themselves. They don't make Pittsburgh. They don't stress them out.
Yeah.
They don't stretch them out. They allowed them to pack the box. The Avs close in on them, which means that those guys don't have to go very far. They don't try and get them out moving around. They don't do anything. They don't do anything to make Pittsburgh really work for it. They still hit a post. And these guys are so good that they still make this work
Anyway.
Plenty of the time. I think in their last 6-7 games, their power play had been just a shade under 40%. So it's not like it's going through a slump. It had been working. It just wasn't very good. I didn't really most of the power plays during regulation, I thought had dangerous moments. They had chances.
Just didn't finish. Yeah.
The 4-on-3 though stands out as really bad.
Is this the moment, too, where I think it had come off to Smith and went really up high into the air?
Yeah.
And everyone appeared to just be standing around for a moment.
I think they thought it went out.
I thought it went out, too, but I wasn't on ice. And it was a weird moment that I think they didn't, and I don't know what their vision of the puck actually was, but it didn't feel like they took that moment seriously enough to track that puck down.
It looked bad. And knowing that in 20 seconds the puck goes in the net. And I think even on the broadcast they said, the Avs are tired, end of a shift, they were exhausted. So were the Pittsburgh penalty killers, and the Avs just got outworked after that power play expired, and it ends up in the back of their net.
It looked like, at least Val and Mikko, that I can remember, it looked like they thought it went out, and they were like frustrated at the way that the power play had gone. Like they seemed like, play's going up ice. Like, shit, get on your horse, get back. That was a weird.
And
that was a weird play.
Like, that sequence is really the only real problem I have with this game.
Yeah.
Is the Avs look like they just got outworked, and it cost them the hockey game in the last 20 seconds.
I mean, overtime on a whole is bad.
Yep.
Like they win the face-off, and that's great. They get the change for MacKinnon, who doesn't make a competitive play, and they give up a 2-on goal. They give up a 2-on-1 that comes within an inch of going into the net. I guess of crossing the line fully.
Didn't love Mikko's play, but he made the play on that one. Got enough of the puck.
And they draw that penalty. Great. It's a lazy play by Malkin.
Yep.
Nothing happens on the power play, and then they lose the game immediately. I mean, it looked like the Avs overtime of old. It was undisciplined. It was chaotic. It did not look calm. And hey, we're gonna wait for our opportunity. We're gonna make something. We're gonna make the most of it when we have a chance here. It looked undisciplined and
Even
frenetic. It was ugly.
Gotten away from it.
All of overtime was ugly. All of it.
Had Pittsburgh not even scored there, the Avs had taken a penalty on that play, and we're leading to who knows what happens in the last 90 seconds of overtime if the Avs survive that.
Yeah,
It was a bad look.
It's frustrating though that when your team plays, when as a team the Avs play
So well for
they
so
play
much of the
15
game.
minutes of really, really, really good hockey, and they end up in overtime because of ultimately because of a really bad bounce. I mean, it's a really unfortunate,
a complete nonsense of a hockey play. no matter which way you look at it.
And then they play really poorly, and it costs them that game. And it's frustrating. I don't want to make too much of it.
I don't either.
In a vacuum, I thought through 2 periods, through 50 minutes, you were looking at, wow, this team is really good. And it's easy to lose track of that because of how it finished. And third periods have been an issue. They've blown leads. They've left points on the table. They do it again tonight. We talk about they need 25 wins. That's 50 points. All right, well, you get 1. Now you're down to 49 points to your goal here for trying to chase the division.
It's a whole lot better than 0, but it's not 2.
Exactly. And if you're going to lose games, hey, if this is one of their 9 losses and it's going to be in overtime, you're in pretty good shape.
Right, you'll take it.
But every time that you leave points out there, it gets harder. It gets just a little bit harder, and each next game gets a little bit more important. Now you're down to 33 left in the season. It's not an astronomical climb. They're in a playoff spot tonight. They go to bed tonight in a playoff spot.
And I think, again,
it's fine.
You
tied for 3rd in the Central.
Yeah, and they're fine.
Well, and you come back to the first 50 minutes of this game and you say, I will take the Avs playing like that every night.
Yeah. Right.
And most nights they'll be ahead by a lot more than 1.
Right. They're not going to be in a 1-0 situation very often when they play that way, but that's not the world that they're in. They're not going to play like that every night. And they left the extra standings point on the ice tonight. They just didn't quite have that little extra, and that's just the reality. It doesn't mean that they're bad. We don't have to constantly compare them to last year's team, which was an all-time great juggernaut. Like, let's be real here. Yes, this team is worse. Yes, the job is going to be harder to win a Stanley Cup. They don't need to continue to try and be last year's team. Mm-hmm. They need to be the best version of this year's team.
Yeah.
And now that they are starting to get back with some of their guys in the lineup, they have an identity to find. They have a rhythm to get themselves into that they've not been all season. It's a disappointing way to get off to the start after the break because there's a lot of hockey left. It's a little bit less than it was a few hours ago. It's not so bad.
And again,
it is a bummer.
I want to make sure that, again, this isn't a moral victory thing, but Jared Bednar has talked a lot this year about the process and building on good habits and making sure that you're discarding bad habits. And he used the Chicago game as an example of that felt really bad because of when the game comes and all that stuff. But even that game, there's things to your point, it's a disappointing way to start coming out of the break. But in terms of how they actually looked, I think you're fine with this game.
Nothing moral about process. You either played well or you didn't. And the Avs played well for the vast majority of this hockey game.
Right. And that's what you got to be looking to build on. This game is done. It's behind you. Like AJ said, you left a point on the table. Take everything that you did good tonight and go do it twice as good 2 nights from now in Florida and get back in the win column.
Megan, you look like you had something to add there on the quality of play at very least.
I think of the time Nathan MacKinnon recently said, I think to you, Jesse, like, well, we've had a lot of good third periods, but nobody seems to ask about those. And I'm just trying to reflect on that moving forward in search of their next good third period, first and foremost, because this has been an issue several points this season now that I do have a little bit of concern that they continue to make a similar mistake that I don't have a doubt that they're going to have a good response in the next game. I just would really like to see that response sustainable for them, that they are not continuing to have bad third periods. And I don't even want to say bad. When they let up on their heels, even for a short portion of the game, it has costed them. And so I'd really like to see how they address that mistake specifically, because it is related to effort. And even though they give maximum effort for the majority of this game, it's still in effort at the worst times that cost them in a big way. I just want to see them addressing it, basically. Like, I want to be able to talk to Nathan MacKinnon about the good third periods.
All right. I'll tell you this. Scoring another goal would have made this one a little bit easier for them, I think. And, you know, I don't want to take anything away from the game that Casey DeSmith had. He played very, very well for Pittsburgh.
He should get plenty of credit. He was great.
Yeah, he was really good.
There were
I thought he
also-
was especially good in overtime.
There were also a number of shots that he didn't see and just hit him.
Got to be lucky to be good.
Not wrong.
That's life in the NHL, man.
Absolutely.
How many wins does Frankie have in his career where he doesn't play well, but the team scored 5 goals for him?
I hear you.
It just happens sometimes.
Again, it's just me reinforcing the idea that on a lot of nights, those pucks are going to be 1 inch a different direction for the Avs, and they're going to end up in the back of the net.
Like, do any of you disagree with the fact the Avs could have won this game 4 or 5-1?
No, not at all.
Easily.
Cool. We're all on the same page.
More clapping. Should we shake hands?
That wasn't even like golf clap. That's the quietest clap I've ever heard.
We could be in the State of the Union.
Yeah.
Easy. Not even
You might not have
close.
seen it behind the laptop.
If you're not coming down to the bar Thursday, you should consider doing so for the Jive Hive watch along. We're gonna have some folks out. I don't know exactly what we're doing.
Does
I
that
don't
mean
either,
what
but
I think it means?
I'm really intrigued by it.
I'm not saying we're hotboxing the entire bar, but I'm not saying that.
Yeah, I'm also not saying that.
Either way, it's hosted by Jive Hive. Make sure y'all come out for that watch along here at the bar. At very least, come to win a bunch of prizes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
21 and up, should point out.
yeah, you do have to be 21 because Jive Hive is a
21 and up
weed
product.
distributor.
Yeah.
So do got to be 21, but come on out for that. Have a good time with us. If you can't make it, at least order yourself some Jive Hive. They'll deliver your weed directly to you. Jivehive.com, JIVEHYVE.com to get your stuff delivered. Go over to their site, type in your address, make sure they do deliver to you if you want to get it. But the virtual dispensary is genuinely the way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we probably have some extroverts in the chat, but as an introvert, would you rather order your weed and have it delivered to your front door, or have to go to a dispensary, talk to the guy who checks your ID, go in,
I don't
talk
think
to
this
the
is
guy?
an introvert or extrovert kind of thing. It's just like, would you rather do nothing or do something and get the same result? Do nothing.
It's just that easy. It's just that easy. You can even schedule your deliveries for the future, so if there's a time where you know you're going to want some, be sure to get it from Jive Hive. Hit it up today. Get yourself some whatever it is you need. I'm not hip with the kids. What kind of strains of weed are the kids smoking these days? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
Did you just make eye contact with a 35-year-old
the
man?
oldest guy
Yeah,
on
that
the
was
beat.
directed at
Yeah.
you for sure.
Why in the world would I know?
That was like a,
You're the one who's usually
was a-
hip with pop culture, so
that question in general was a pretty how do you do fellow kids
Yeah.
moment. What kind of strains of marijuana cigarettes are the
you
kids
guys
having
still
these
smoking
days?
the Pineapple
Yeah.
Express, kids? I
Yeah.
don't.
All this reefer.
All these kids with their cartridges and
Cannabis
all this
and
vape
cannabis
pens and
food.
stuff now.
Yeah.
Can't handle it. Yeah, I see it, Tiff. I see it over there.
The person who put this might be an 0-3 road trip. You're already wrong. It's already not.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
already are 0-1. So we're also brought to you by the American Raptors. If you want to go have an amazing day, highly recommend Infinity Park in Glendale just to go hang out at. But if there's a Raptors game, you can get tickets for that for completely free. So you might as well go catch some rugby while you're doing it.
Cool stadium.
It's a dope place to just go hang out, but also the literal best rugby in the world. Well, not the world. United States isn't that good. The best rugby in the United States happens there. Men's and women's 15 teams do play there. So you can check that out as well. If you're a rugby fan, we have DNVR Rugby. Be sure to follow them on Twitter. Colton Strickler does the rugby podcast for us. Amazing stuff. He genuinely has super good podcasts. If you're in the sport, he's got interviews with everybody. If you're new, he's got 101 pods that will teach you all you need to know about rugby. It's literally just a better version of football. Prove me wrong. Moving
I agree.
on.
Yep. They know how to hit.
Check out AmericanRaptors.com today to get your free tickets. And if you want to watch, they stream their games live on the website, too. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook.
I don't know if I have 15 more minutes worth of stuff to say about this show.
We got some super chats.
Oh, okay. All right,
so
perfect.
I'm hoping those carry us a little bit.
Oh. It's Tampa next?
It
Yeah.
is
Tampa,
next,
then
yeah.
Florida?
Yeah.
I was talking with Abs PR, and we were just like, it just would have been great if they would have just reversed the order of this road trip, and I wouldn't have had to come home first.
Okay. $20 from Banks, who says, the boys looked good tonight. Left about 5 goals on the ice. 1, Frankie was good. 2, I wish it was bigger lead so Kurt could have tilted with Carter. 3, got a point, and if we get 4 or 5 points out of 6 on the trip, I'm happy. Thoughts? I feel like, yeah, that's the whole show. We didn't need 45 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That was a
Come on,
good-
Banks, where were you earlier? We could have just left that comment on the screen.
I'm pretty sure he posted that like 5 minutes into the show. So
Come on, Tiff. We could have been out of here.
5 more from Banks, who says, Rudo looking like Fred Flintstone. I can't do a good yabba dabba do. I don't have it in me, I don't think. So
Good enough.
gonna avoid a big yell on that one. $2 from Vaguely Sober, who said, Bo with the sweaty boys.
With the sweaty boys.
That's what I call that emoji. I don't know. That's what it's called, okay?
Oh, God.
Had an assist.
He did. He had a point in his comeback tonight. And look, again, I thought the Avs defense looked great tonight for 53 minutes. I really, really will take this performance out of them
Yep.
most nights.
And Bo, the scare in the first period, he went
Yeah.
on to play 21 minutes.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
think, too, they are really running with him on PP2. Like, this truly, to me, felt like they utilized him 100% or thereabouts to his capabilities. That is the one I don't want to make, I don't know, moral victories, I think, was the word we were using earlier. I don't want to get carried away in saying how I do think that is a positive not to be understated, that Bo completes this game.
Yeah.
He plays 100%.
Look, it's not nothing that Bo completes the game. Cale Makar came back. Obviously, he's still not sure there. You also had Lehkonen take a puck off the skate. He ended up being okay. Not getting hurt is good.
Bo
It's a good
playing
thing.
as many minutes as he did, I'm with you, Megan,
surprised.
is encouraging.
All right, I think we have two more.
Banks just
Yeah,
funding
he's
the night.
just rolling in the dollars. Thank you, Banks. Did Jesse get some Jive Hive before this? Quite perky, LOL. Sorry for the volume of chats. I'm traveling and drunk. Cheers and love to DNVR.
1, don't apologize. 2, I wish. And 3, yeah. This is what 5 p.m. start time Jesse looks
He's
like.
still awake. For
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I guess I've never had weed that like perks me up.
Well,
Yeah, that was a weird correlation to draw.
really? Oh, it's definitely out there.
I'm just smoking too much sativa.
Not that I would
Is
know.
that the problem?
No, yeah,
I see. I don't know anything about
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Okay, got it. Makes sense.
In layman's terms, you know.
Yeah, the basic stuff. And then $5 from Melanie, who says, "Thank you for your insight. I always learn a lot when I listen. Take care.
That's so nice.
Much appreciated."
Those are my State of the Union claps for anybody who wasn't here in the first 30 seconds of this pod.
Feel like we should all end the pod by standing up and clapping.
Yeah,
at this point.
I plan on it.
Look, again, I think this is a little bit more of what we talked about in the pregame. Yeah, the Avs played a good game, but they didn't make their life any easier going forward. Now you're looking at this Florida-Tampa trip, and they absolutely have to win one of them.
Yeah.
And the other one,
Score some 5v5 goals.
that would help.
Lehkonen and Nichushkin both feasting on power play points this year. Get some 5v5 production out of those guys.
Even MacKinnon's goal tonight was 4-on-4. So
Yep.
that is not a 5v5 goal, something they need a little bit more of.
I imagine it's Georgiev these last 2 here, right?
I would
Should be.
assume so. I don't know why they wouldn't. I'd put
Yep.
it that way.
Yep, yep, yep.
It should be, and then you have 3 back-to-backs in a row.
Really?
Not exactly, but you have 3 weeks of back-to-backs.
I thought you meant that their next after Tampa, their next 6 games. Were, I was like, I feel like I would have remembered that on the schedule.
So they have the back-to-back next week, Tampa and then Minnesota.
See, I'm not going to stand up and clap for that
Yeah.
because I don't like that.
Where's
don't
your-
like back-to-backs.
Where's your flary clothes, though? I felt like a lot of them showed out in the clothes tonight.
I know for State of the Union.
Couldn't tell if it. I thought it was like the Kentucky Derby for
Yeah,
a second.
I know. I need more fur, more layers.
For
What's the thing that Austin Powers wears?
His chest hair.
No, maybe undo some buttons. But like is it an ascot? Is that what you call it? With like all the ruffles?
No, that's not an ascot. Yeah,
That's just a
ruffled
ruffly shirt. Just a very European shirt.
Anyway, for whatever this podcast has been, I think we're all coming away feeling pretty good about the Avs here. Yeah, despite not getting the 2 points, you feel good about how they looked.
This is a weird tangent, but I'm just even reflecting on you would like to see the depth contribute, but like Matt Nieto, right now 3 games in, he has chances tonight. I feel like he gets on the score sheet sooner than, this isn't to throw Ben Myers under the bus, but that was the reason why Ben Myers isn't here tonight, is because Nieto is here and the hope is that he will be able to find the back of the net or at least create chances that do. And he had that tonight, and I think that's going to be something positive moving forward too.
I agree that he will produce more than Ben Myers. I also remember his entire tenure here the first time.
Okay, but who are his line mates? When these guys get healthy, which right now that was a horrible way to start that question because right now it's Dennis Malgin and question mark.
For the record, it is just a ruffled white button-up. It's not
Now you
anything
know.
special. Yep.
I expect you in with it on Thursday.
Maybe. So I don't know if you were done.
You know what? I am done. I don't need to go down this Nieto rabbit hole.
I think Nieto will be okay on the production. I also know there will be 20 more times this season where he chunks an opportunity right into the goalie's chest. So I'm tempering my expectations
It is
a
the
little.
fourth line way.
This is
Even
the
Logan
way.
O'Connor tonight.
That guy needs a goal.
I feel so bad.
Desperately needs a goal.
Yep.
Who scores first, Eric Johnson or Logan O'Connor?
Logan O'Connor.
Okay.
We had this conversation.
I agree.
I
There's
don't
just
think
something
PJ's
really
getting
cruel
one.
about it that feels like it's actually going to be Eric Johnson.
It'd be messed
EJ's
up.
one goal this year is going to be a big goal.
Yeah, it's going to be like game 6 of the second round or something.
It's going to be nuts. I'm looking forward to it.
It'll be like late in the third period, game 82.
Yeah, seriously.
That
I'm
like
thinking
secures home ice in the
Yeah.
first
Do
round.
you
and
know
you're
who
like,
I'm thinking of? Who it'll be likened to? Any guesses? Any guesses?
No.
Duncan Keith against the Blues. That, like, I think it was either his first or second goal of the
it was
season.
the second
Yeah.
In game 81
one.
to force game 82 to be a winner goes on between the Avs and the Blues. That was wild.
Okay, I think we're at the end of the reel here, folks. I got nothing left to say about this game. As we all stand up and clap, except for AJ.
I'm not doing this.
Pod. What a pod.
Take us out.